and welcome to another episode of Moonee Valley Voices, the new local podcast where we're chatting to business owners and wonderful people in the Moonee Valley community doing great things. And today I'm joined by Rosie Lo Grasso, who owns ideapro, a local marketing agency, a bit like our own here at Content Hype. So Rosie, great to have you on board. I'm looking forward to chatting about your experiences in the Moonee Valley and in business as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, we always start, learning a bit about our guests and their connection to the area. I know you're a lifelong Moonee Valley resident, so can you talk to me about your memories, I guess, of growing up in Moonee Valley and maybe how things have changed over the years?
Oh, goodness, yes. So I grew up in Avondale Heights and attended the local primary school there at St. Martin's.
Yep.
And, I remember, particularly Avondale Heights, that's changed a lot since then. I remember going to the local fish and chip shop across the road after school. I don't think it's there anymore, but I think Impastor's there now or something like that. So it's a lot more, a lot trendier these days than it was back when I was at primary school. So I spent all my childhood there in Avondale Heights, went to high school at Ave Maria College in Essendon, and then have lived pretty much my entire life. I did move away for a short period, but I came back.
Everyone seems to come back. It's got a bit of a hold on people, I think, that have grown up in the area, doesn't it? So, and obviously you're growing a family in the area as well. So, what's life look like in Moonee Valley these days for you?
Yeah, so we moved, so my husband and I, we actually co-own our business ideapro, and so we run that business together and we live in East Keilor, or Keilor East as it's now known.
Yes.
That's how long I've been.
I still get that wrong all the time. I never know which way to put the East and the Keilor,
That's how long I've been there for. So we live in Keilor East and we've been there for around 18 years now, so it's a long time. And we have two young children and they go to the local school in Airport West at St. Christopher's.
Yep.
So, our entire life is in Moonee Valley, and I think with young children, you do venture out, but a lot of your life is within a 5K radius, so lots of local activities. Our life is, sort of driving the kids around to all of their various activities, which mostly are based locally within Moonee Valley.
Yep.
So, that's pretty much it. So we do spend a lot of time also at Centreway, which is near where we live, and we love it. It's a beautiful community there. So a lot of our time, it's my local haunt in terms of where I go and do my shopping. I know most of the shopkeepers there, and it's a beautiful place to live.
Yep. And in terms of the kids' activity, are they doing sports, that sort of thing in the area? What are they playing?
Yeah, so my daughter is with St. Christopher's basketball team there and the Saints, and so she plays basketball. And then my son, he has just started Auskick for the second year, and he's at Airport West. Yep. And he also, he plays for the Royals. He does the Kickstarter program for the Royals.
Okay, awesome.
I think you're familiar with them.
Yeah. So what, do they do Wednesdays or Saturdays?
He does Saturday. He does Wednesday nights.
Wednesdays. So I moved from Wednesdays to Saturdays. That's why I thought I haven't seen you at the things. So, very good. All right. Yes. And then obviously talk to me about you run the business with your husband. What's that like? What's that like working with your better half?
Look, it's the question that we always get asked, and we have done for a long time now. So we've worked together for 13 years now. Yeah. So the first year was a little tricky, a little difficult. I'd come from corporate and joined him. The business was already established when I joined him. Okay. And look, initially there's no doubt, you're a couple. We weren't married at the time, actually. Okay. So, we'd been living together and we're working together, and so it took a while for us to find our roles, and I think that's the key, especially, in business in general. Everyone needs defined roles, and more so when you are working with your partner. It is really important to have those defined roles, and respecting each other's zone of genius. Yeah. Sometimes it's crossover, and when the crossover happens, I guess that's where the challenges happen. But for the most part, we've honed it. We've worked on it. We've had many years of practice. It's not always perfect, but look, we're still going and we're good. We enjoy working together, and I think as long as we are bringing different skill sets and enhancing our client experience, that's all we can ask for.
Is it hard to turn off from work? Like, because, you're always together, is the work stuff ever turn off completely, or is it always sort of buzzing in the background?
Oh, look, does a business owner ever switch off from their business? Look, but I have to say that, early on it was worse.
Yeah.
It was all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember having some fairly straight conversations and saying, we need to stop talking about work after a certain time, and and respecting the sanctity of our relationship. And these days we don't really have to have that conversation anymore. The kids pretty much once they get home.
That's it. There's not much time to think about anything else, is there?
That's right. Yeah. So it's easier these days.
Nah, fantastic. And so talk to me about your transition because you came from a corporate role. I think you ran a fashion brand as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and sort of how you ended up corporate and then in the business?
Yeah, sure. So I've done a few different things. So out of uni, I had studied marketing and business administration at university, but out of school I went actually into fashion, not so much into a marketing role. I guess the reason for that is I was already working in retail. I worked at High Point for many years. Okay. Didn't we all?
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved retail and I loved sales, but I also loved fashion specifically. And my mother was a seamstress, so very much inspired by her.
Yep. And
so I worked in textile development. Actually, I found myself in textile development for around 8 years. Actually, in a variety of different businesses. Yep. Fantastic part of my career and learning. Completely different. I hadn't studied it. I learnt on the job, but it brought me to be able to travel overseas. I went to China a lot. I would go to textile mills, learn to negotiate pricing, come up with textile designs and all of that, coming back and selling wholesale into Australian major fashion retailers.
Okay.
Yeah, so learnt a lot there, cut my teeth in more wholesale sales as opposed to retail. And then eventually decided to move out onto my own. I wanted to always work for myself. I've always had that ambitious entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it through and through. And so, decided to launch my label. My mum actually encouraged me to do it. It's something she always wanted to do. And so we actually, she did help me and we did accessories together. We launched a party plan offshoot business with a friend of mine. Mum helped me do that as well. In the background, she was helping me make accessories and I was then going and selling them in a party plan model. Learnt a lot in, different ways, sort of direct to consumer versus retail. And then probably the biggest lesson in business was in that first business, launching my own label. I was really young. I was really naive when it came to business. And I was so excited when I got my first huge order from a retail store. And so I went off and produced a whole range of clothing with many thousands of dollars out of pocket, actually, all without asking for a deposit on that order. So months down the track, when I had finished manufacturing and buying all of the materials and everything and putting together these clothes that the store had ordered from me, which was in excess of $10,000, I called to arrange the delivery and there was no answer. So I called again, I emailed, no answer, turned up at their door and there was a big sign on the window saying, liquidation sale. There was no one home. So long story short, that was one of my biggest first lessons in business is always ask for a deposit or money up front. I had to learn the hard way. It was a real gut punch, but I've never forgotten that lesson. I've taken that through into my businesses since. So after that, I did that for a few years. And then Anthony wanted to go, he also has a degree in marketing and wanted to go back and study and he wanted to hone his design skills. So he wanted to become a designer and build on the marketing knowledge that he had. So we created space for that and I decided to go back to corporate and actually use the degree that I had and started off in corporate. I started in a marketing communications role. Again, learning a lot on the job. It had been a while since I'd been in uni, so I knew the fundamentals, but I hadn't actually practiced them. I'd been more in sort of sales and other roles. So I learnt, but very quickly, and an opportunity arose within just a couple of years that the marketing manager role for Australia and New Zealand had come up. It was for an industrial paint company, one of the market leaders in the world. And I was probably underqualified. I wasn't fully ready for the role, but I had an amazing mentor who was my boss at the time. Shout out to Jeff. And he really encouraged me. He encouraged me. He saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself yet. I didn't really have the full confidence. And so I guess an understanding of mentorship also, I have a real appreciation for that. It's something I do now. I've learnt that because I had that gift given to me. And then I went on in that role for a couple of years, growing a team and learning more corporate marketing. I probably learnt there. That's probably where my first foray into brand started. I was working for a market leader.
Yeah.
I learnt a lot about what makes a market leading brand in a corporate capacity. And then after that, I was there for around 5 years or so. We'd gotten married. And Anthony was already working by then, and he'd already launched his own business with a business partner. That actually was starting to dissolve, and then we thought it was the right time for me to join him. And we had a vision that he would use his skills, of course, in design. So by then he was a qualified designer with a lot of experience in print as well. He'd had a variety of different roles, and I would bring in the marketing component, and we would bring that together for an end-to-end offering for our clients.
Yeah. Do you think that experience in the sales part really helped with the, because in marketing everything can be very, theoretical and strategy, but at the end of the day it's the sales aspect of it that drives, whether or not marketing is really successful or not, right? Or so how did that help having that sort of front end sales experience going into that more corporate role, do you think?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I had an appreciation for sales.
Yeah.
I think I respected sales. I think that there in many organisations there are silos between marketing and sales, and that's where problems happen.
Yeah.
I went into the corporate role embracing sales, and so one of the things I implemented fairly early on in that role was I actually created my own questionnaire. It was something that, I asked the business, well, what do sales want? Well, we don't have a formal way of communicating that. Okay, well, I created a questionnaire that actually was very sales driven, but with a marketing output focus. And that really helped because the sales team were on board. So at the time, there was a sales team of 55 around Australia that the marketing team at that time was only 2 of us, or 3 of us, supporting. And then I think I just got buy-in at that point, and the sales team became wonderful friends and colleagues still today, some of those, years down the track. And it really helped. It really helped with just setting the foundations between sales and marketing, bridging that gap. And even still to this day, it's something that I preach, that without, one cannot operate without the other, really. No, they really need to work hand in hand.
Yeah. And so ideapro, as it exists today, very strong focus on brand and branding. Is that sort of the core focus of the business, or it does broader marketing strategy as well?
Yeah, so when we started the business, it actually when Anthony started the business, it was actually 50% design, 50% print.
Right.
So it was a very different business back then. When I joined him, we'd already seen the writing on the wall. The print was really on its way, not necessarily out, but it was in decline with the digital onset. So we knew that where we wanted to go. We knew where we wanted to go, but we also were raising a family alongside that. Yeah. So I think we set the intention. We knew that there was we set a strategy that we were going to focus on marketing, which was my skill set at the time, and brand was part of that. But over the last few years, I think since our children grew a little, I was able to dedicate more time in that, and we actually set it as a firm strategy and it's made it part of our content strategy as well. So it was very intentional, the shift into moving towards more of a brand focus. And so now it is a standalone pillar within our business as a service offering. So we offer brand strategy, brand expression and brand identity all under the one umbrella. And then we have marketing, as you mentioned, as a separate service offering for the clients that would like to take that up. But it is more strategic. So we do implementation, but we work with a lot of partners, such as your business, your type of business, digital marketing partners, other partners that we bring in. We don't pretend to know everything about everything, and we don't want to. We want to make sure that we stay in our lane. There are plenty of others that are doing their work, like yourself, amazingly well. We're not content creators per se, apart from LinkedIn, which is probably more of our specialty.
Sure.
But we'll partner, we'll bring people in, we will refer businesses onto our clients, because we're all one of our, biggest values is all about connection, both within business, within community. So that's one way that we can do that. So we do, as I said, there's brand, there's marketing, and then there's design, of course. That's a core part of our business, the creative. That's where the business started. And then more recently, probably one of the demands that we've had, probably post-COVID, was advisory. So marketing coaching, brand coaching. That's something that has grown the last few years and something that I personally really love.
Yeah. And I guess for the listeners or the business owners who feel like brand's just, the logo that goes on the door or on the product, talk to us a little bit about how you guys sort of view brand and how it goes beyond just, your colours and your logo.
Yeah. So look, I think that's probably the biggest mistake that is made, that brand is a logo. And it's often when you have, we have startups, we have businesses that I'm starting a business, so I need a logo and I need an Instagram page, and here I go, I'm off.
Yeah.
And then it's crickets.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough. It's not enough. So brand is multifaceted. What makes a great brand are a lot of layers. There are, to start with, there is consistency. So consistency in your tone of voice, consistency in your visuals, of course. That is important. So I'm not dismissing the fact that a logo is not important and your colours are not important.
Yeah, of course.
But it's one component.
Yeah.
So consistency is certainly one. Showing up regularly, becoming memorable, being talked about when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
And so much so that someone refers you on because you are memorable for the right reasons.
Yeah.
How do you become memorable? Well, you show up.
Yeah.
You show up, you deliver on what you say you will.
Yeah.
You also understand and listen to your customers. So it's really understanding. And when we say understand your customers, it's, if I ask the question to a prospect, I might say, well, who are your customers? Well, we serve women who are in their, mid-40s.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great start, but let's go a little deeper.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time on customer personas, really understanding the psychographic, demographic, behavioural attributes of customers. What are their pain points, but what are also their pleasure points? What makes them happy?
Yeah.
And then you can create content strategies around that and really connect with your audience at a much deeper level than just surface.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of the attributes of brand. Certainly, I think rushing into a business and not looking at the fundamentals before you start, understanding the competitive landscape that you're going into. And that's part of that is not just understanding and, necessarily copying your competitors, because we don't want to do that. But you want to understand how you differentiate.
Yeah.
And part of brand is understanding your unique selling proposition. What's different about you? Are you a Me Too brand? Because Me Too brands don't last, and they often play on price.
Yeah.
So if you, do you want to be an alternative or do you want to be the choice?
Yeah.
And part of that is understanding what makes you different. What is it? Is it something that you offer? Is it the way that you deliver your service? Is it the customer experience? What touch point makes you different? And what unique attribute makes you different? So we dig deep in that and help our clients uncover and unravel all of that so they can go off and then implement it.
What, in terms of brand, I see a lot of smaller business owners who have built a solid brand around themselves and they're a big component of that brand. But when it comes to scaling, sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing when it has to become bigger than just you or the person involved. What sort of process do you go through with those sort of businesses where we've had success to this sort of point, we want to grow it beyond this? How do we now take the brand away from just being, me, my face, which can still be an important part, but something that's bigger than just an individual?
Yeah, sure. We've absolutely worked with businesses who have come to us with that challenge. And look, sometimes it's more challenging if the business is named after you.
Yeah.
So, there are businesses that have, that you're using your name. It's not to say it's impossible, but generally if you're using your name, we may start to think about, creating an offshoot brand that's separate to that. That may be one way. The other way is thinking about scalability for that business in different ways. So how can we, it may be scaling the team. You may be just you. And if you are the person that someone is always dealing with, and look, Anthony and I, we have had this challenge from time to time. We have, grown our business over time. We're not a big business, but we have got a team. And our clients, they're used to seeing us. They're used to speaking to us. And that's tricky sometimes if we're not able to be there. So having a team in place that your customers come to trust, that they understand that their expertise, they've been trained by you, they need to feel that confidence, and that's one way of you being able to step back a little. Also offering products that aren't one-to-one.
Yeah.
And going into other areas where you're offering products or services that don't rely on you actually being the person to deliver them. So you can still be the face of the business, but you don't have to be the one actually there at every single transaction or every single customer touch point. because you just can't do that if you want to scale.
No, 100%. And what's a bigger challenge do you think? Oh, I'm sure they're unique in their own way, but someone coming to you with nothing, like we're starting this from scratch, or someone who's got something established and they're looking to rebrand?
Oh goodness, a good question. Look, I think a business that's actually been around for a little while, in some ways, is easier.
Yeah.
From the perspective that they've already been working with customers.
Sure.
They've got some runs on the board.
Yeah.
They've made some mistakes. They also probably understand their customer a little more than a startup because they just don't have the experience yet. So when you're a startup, you think that you know who you want to work with, but rest assured it most likely will change.
Yeah.
And I think in all the businesses that we've worked with, your customer may be a particular type of customer when you first open the doors, but over time it will evolve. Because you're evolving as well.
Yeah.
And you're also learning what type of customers you want to work with.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So it may be niche related. You may change a niche or select a niche. Whereas when you first start, often in business, people will just accept everyone because you just want to start trading and you want to start working, and that's actually probably encouraged to a degree. Just to get working, just to get some runs on the board and learn. But I think to answer your question, is it preferred? I don't think we prefer a startup or a rebrand, but it's certainly a little easier to work with from a strategic perspective because startups, we may ask some questions, and they may not know the answers yet. So there may be a little more market research that's required as opposed to actually tangible, real life experience that an existing business owner already has. Yeah.
And from, I guess, the feedback you get from your clients, once they've got a bit of a strategy behind what they're doing, they've got a much deeper sort of, ideal customer persona, that sort of thing behind them. What sort of feedback do you get from them in terms of how that changes the way they go about marketing their business? Because even from my end, I know if I get a client that's got a very clear picture of who they're marketing to, the whole content discussion becomes a lot easier versus when you're, throwing pasta at the wall and trying to see what sticks, So what sort of conversation have you had with clients that sort of showcase that sort of clarity that comes through?
Yeah, look, one comes to mind actually. And look, I think overwhelmingly the feedback is, wow, you've just taken everything that's in my head and all the notes and all the bits of paper and all the ideas and brought it together in a way that just I'm super clear now who I serve.
Yeah.
And what that does is it actually allows them to make better business decisions.
Yeah.
Because shiny object syndrome is a thing in business. And there's always something new that's coming up and it's really easy to be swayed.
Yeah.
It's really easy to say, okay, well, I was working with this customer and now I'm going to work with this customer. Well, having a really clear persona and also having other underlying, foundational brand strategy elements helps you go back to that and ask yourself, well, hang on, this is a great opportunity, but is it aligned with really the work that we've done here? Is it aligned with who we really want to work with? Is it really an ideal customer?
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to say no. Sometimes it's okay to say to a client, perhaps we're not the greatest fit.
Yeah.
But XYZ down the road, they can certainly help you because they may be a better fit. And I think that saying no makes space for more yes.
Yeah, 100%. And we like to champion local businesses. Is there any sort of local clients, local businesses that that you've worked with that you're excited about and love to talk about?
Well, some of them you've had on this podcast.
Oh, right. There you go.
Yeah, so we have worked for a long time with John Casher from Thriving Wealth.
Yes.
So he's got an amazing business and he's an amazing entrepreneur. And
great example of really strong brand that cuts through, actually. And I mean, he shows up. You talk about showing up. I can't turn on my Facebook without seeing his face. He's just had some sort of dental. I know everything that's happening in that guy's life.
We know. We know about the surgery they had to go under.
Yeah.
But he shows up.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's absolutely. So we worked with John for a number of years.
Yeah.
We went through 3 different rebrands.
Yeah.
So we did do the logo for Thriving Wealth in conjunction with John.
Yeah.
And that was that's one great example of it's one thing that we can develop a brand strategy and then a brand identity for a business, but it's then the most important part of that collaboration also is the implementation.
Yeah.
it just doesn't work if we hand over everything and then nothing is done with it.
Yeah.
Whereas John's a really great example of actually following through, implementing, scaling, and all of that. So that's certainly one example, and he's one multi-award-winning business now. So really proud from the sidelines cheering him on. So great friends now as well. So that's a byproduct of being in business in the community. You not only work together, but you get to know each other really well. So he's my neighbour as well.
Oh, there you go.
Not too far from us.
Not too far.
So that's
Very
one
good.
business. There is also other businesses locally. We have. My best friend, who's also been on this podcast, Aneta Pazeski.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, so she also, I guess I'm a little biased, but know her personally. But we developed her brand. Yep. She started her business a year before ours, so about 14 years now. And she has the same brand identity still today. It has been timeless. And she has, she's really delivered on that brand consistently across various touch points. Her customer experience is exceptional, not because she's my friend, but, it's testament to the fact that she's won back-to-back ABIA awards every single year. So, that's certainly another business that, we look at from afar and say, wow, look at how far our clients can take the foundational work that we do together.
Oh, fantastic. And talk to me a little bit about some of the locals, places you like to frequent. We always like to sort of talk about our Valley faves. Yeah. And we normally ask about coffee first because that's always one that people like to throw up a few different ones. They don't want to offend any of their local baristas. But where's your best cup of coffee in Moonee Valley?
Well, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. It's
actually,
odd.
I think I've had one other guest who told me they don't drink coffee
It's
too.
a bit odd for an Italian. But my husband makes up for it. Okay. So he makes up for it with his four espressos a day.
Yes, yeah.
Look, I drink chai though. Okay. I do drink chai, so there's still a bit of caffeine in there.
Okay.
Look, I most recently actually had an amazing chai at Little Sister Cafe, which is just in Centreway, actually. It's a little cafe, little cafe there. So that was really great. So that's one. And I do also enjoy going to Mr. Hoffman.
Mr. Hoffman?
In Lidgery.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like both of those.
Yeah.
They do a good breakfast too.
Ah, fantastic. A local dinner spot with the family?
Good one. Oh, goodness. Where do we go for dinner? Look, I like Tukaya. I like Japanese food. So I have to say, Tukaya is a good one. And we also sometimes you can go to East Pantry just for a local, easy dinner, very friendly faces.
Yep.
Can you tell I stick local?
Yeah, stick local. You've got Class 90 there as well, which is...
oh my gosh, how can I forget? We've gone there so many times. Yeah, Classe 90. Yeah. Sorry, there's the Italian again.
No, they're great.
Yeah, love they make a great pizza.
Yes, they
make a great pizza.
They do. And when you got some downtime, any local hangouts or any walking tracks or anything you like to frequent?
Yeah, look, especially during COVID, I have to admit, we spent a lot of time walking the trail down Valley Lake. So from our place all the way down, it feels like you're not in the country, but you're really connected to nature in a very short amount of time from suburbia. So I absolutely love walking in that track. I've walked with friends, I've walked on my own with my family. The kids ride their bikes, and then now that there's that great little cafe down at Valley Lake as well.
Yep.
So at Perry's, Yes. So I really love that spot as far as a local place to go for a walk.
Yeah, perfect. And I guess before we wrap up, we'll just talk a little bit about how you see the marketing sort of landscape changing, because you spoke about you went through one transition already where maybe print was being overtaken by the digital landscape. Now we've got this whole sort of AI revolution sort of coming in. How do you see, has that crept into any of the sort of work that you've done in terms of, people maybe have tried to develop a strategy using an AI tool first before they've come to you? Or, how do you sort of see that changing the way the businesses like ours work?
Yeah, well, we're very aware of it, of course, especially with the onset of ChatGPT essentially becoming just commonplace in everyday talk now. We embrace it. Yeah. I guess in marketing, we have to embrace change. It's just part of, we're used to pivoting, we're used to adapting. Yeah. So we use it as well. So, but we use it, intentionally with our own skill set. We do expect already that our clients are using it. We actually encourage, particularly in my coaching and mentorship work, I encourage clients to actually use it to help them overcome their blocks, particularly with content creation. I think that's something that when they've got, they haven't got the budget to pay someone to do that for them. And often they're blocked with ideas or, not so much, they may have a strategy that we've put together for them, but they just needs, perhaps it's just articulating the words. Yeah. It's as simple as putting together a paragraph that's a caption. Yeah. So I really encourage it. I expect clients to be using it to enhance their workflows, to be more efficient. Yep. I would like them to continue to do that. Do I see it impinging on some of our services? Look, to a degree, yes. We don't really know the full scale of what's possible with AI. Do I think that it can replace the creativity that's in the mind of a human? Look, to some degree, yes. Yeah. However, you can't quite replace humans. No. So you need a human to drive it, to put the information, the data in. So I think, it's a tool like many other tools. And so I think it's definitely going to play a bigger part, both within our business and within our clients' businesses. But as I said, we're encouraging them to use it. Are we worried? Not really. Not worried in the sense that we have other ideas of how we can adapt, and we need to adapt. I think it's about, business should 100%. You should stay on your toes. You shouldn't be complacent with just because we're offering this service. Well, it's always going to be relevant in the format that it currently is. We're looking at, well, if a customer can use AI to do one of the tasks that perhaps we were doing for them, well, what else can we do to add value? Something that AI can't do. Yeah. And I think the edge is ensuring that you understand what's your knowledge, what's your skill set, and using AI to amplify that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Rosie, thank you so much for coming on. For anyone who wants to learn a bit more about you, your business, where should they go? What should they look for?
Look, probably on LinkedIn, if you reach out to Rosie Lo Grasso on LinkedIn. Also on Instagram, we're ideapro Oz, AUS on the end. They're probably the two best places to come and connect.
Amazing. Well, Rosie, thanks again for joining us this week. That wraps up another episode of the Moonee Valley Voices. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to check back for our next episode. Any business owners or anyone with a great cause that they're maybe raising money for, we'd love to hear from you. So reach out to matt@contenthype.com.au. Thank you.